So once you know what your superpowers are and what you're really good at and what the gifts are that you came in with, boy, you can use those to create anything that you want to create in your lifetime.
I am Gloria Grace Rand, founder of The Love Method and author of the #1 Amazon bestseller, Live, Love, Engage: How to Stop Doubting Yourself and Start Being Yourself. In this podcast, we share practical advice from a spiritual perspective on how to live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically, so you can create a life and business with more impact, influence, and income. Welcome to Live, Love, Engage. Namaste. Are you ready to discover the secret to unlocking your full purpose and potential? Well, stick around because today's guest is going to reveal how your life path number holds the key to your success. But first, I do want to welcome you to Live, Love, Engage, especially if you're new to the podcast. I am Gloria Grace, and I help female entrepreneurs attract clients by going beyond traditional search engine optimization to embrace my definition of SEO, spiritually engaging others. Now, joining us today is Susan Owens, and she is a speaker and a media personality and author of the award-winning book, Wisdom of Numerology, which is a useful guide to help you create a fulfilling and rewarding life. And I'm really looking forward to talking with her. We were talking before we got started today, and I'm excited to bring her on now so that we can dive into the fascinating world of numbers. So let me bring her up here. There we go. Welcome, Susan, to Live, Love, Engage.
Thank you so much, Gloria. I'm really excited to be here and talk about numerology, which is my passion. So I am so happy to share it with you and your listeners.
Well, awesome. Well, I think first off, I mean, I'm a little bit familiar with it because I've kind of dabbled in it over the years, and I've had well, not really myself, but I've had other people who knew more about it than I and would kind of help me out a little bit, but I haven't really done too much with it lately. So, and I know that we haven't even talked about it on the podcast before. So when I met you, I was like, oh, come on, we got to have you on. So for those out there who don't know anything about it, maybe you could start right there with giving us a little mini overview of it.
I'm excited to do that. Numerology has been around it's ancient wisdom. So what I'm doing with it today in this culture, in this lifetime, is telling people about where their strengths are, what their life path is. Now, you mentioned that earlier, so we'll talk about it. But first, let me tell you about what numerology really is. Numerology is the numbers 1 through 9, basically. Every number in the universe comes down to 1 through 9. There are no other numbers. 0 is just a space holder. So numerology, because these numbers apply to the letters, for instance, A, J, and S are all number 1. B, K, and T are number 2. So we assign numbers to letters, so that'll tell us about our name. Our birth date is the other information that we gather a lot of data from. And that, when we add all those birth date digits together, like all those numbers, you add them together and keep adding until you get one digit, that tells you your life path or your superpower. So once you know what your superpowers are and what you're really good at and what the gifts are that you came in with, boy, you can use those to create anything that you want to create in your lifetime. So that's where we go with the life path. Okay, that's a big important deal. Wow. That's like a very powerful number in our chart, in our numerology chart.
Well, you've already taught me something new, because I didn't know that you could that there are letters assigned to different numbers as well. So maybe if we have time, we'll talk about that some more too. But I do want to focus more on, the life path, because I think that is important. And especially, our audience are entrepreneurs, and we always want to know, what's going on and how we can make our lives better and our businesses better.
Absolutely. Oh, there's so much to tell you about that. First of all, I want to talk about you because you were kind enough to give me your birth date to begin with. So I added up your digits, and we don't have time to delve deep into this, but you have a master number, and that you're a 33-6. So you're a 6 life path, and that 6 is all about being responsible, being a caregiver, quintessential caregiver. So I'm guessing you had a lovely family raising, and it was very important for you to raise your kids and have a good relationship through your marriage. It's really, really important. Plus, you're incredibly responsible. But the thing that, and I can go deeper into that too, Gloria, if you want to. But the other thing that I want to touch on, because it's unique to have a 33-6. Now, a master number is when you have double digits. And normally I don't even touch on this because we have such short amount of time. But because you had this master 33, I have to tell you, because you are living it, is exactly what you're doing. Because you are being responsible and you are encouraging and empowering others. And that's the 33. It's a higher vibration of the 6. It's the one that says, I'm a caregiver to the world. You're here to uplift humanity and level up in consciousness, raise the consciousness of humanity. And that's what you're doing with your podcast. That's so perfect. So I wanted to slip that in, but so really interestingly, there are 9 basic life paths. And if you add all your digits together and you get a number 1, interesting, you're a leader, you're a trailblazer, you're the one that comes up with all the ideas. And then as you do that, you're not necessarily the one that gets everything done. You're not the doer so much as the idea creator. And you draw people to you that want you to lead them. So you're the one that manifests things through other people, but you're the idea person and the trailblazer. If you're a 2, now this is interesting. A 2 is one that is a receptive. It's a feminine number. You're receptive, and the one that supports the 1. You are the supportive. You're the diplomat. You want to make sure everybody gets along. If you're growing up in a family where there's a lot of conflict, or even not if there wasn't conflict, you want to make sure that everybody managed their differences and just everybody was happy. And being a diplomat's huge. Plus, you're intuitive. That 2 is a pretty intuitive number. If you're a 3, okay, now here I'm going to express myself here. I'm a 3. 3s like to talk. We're the communicators. We're the creatives. We like to write. I've written a book. I've written Wisdom and Numerology. And I love doing these podcasts and interviews. What's not to like? I get to be the authority and I get to talk. So that really is a quintessential 3. Plus, they're the creatives. So they're the dancers, the singers, the musicians. Any artist is usually a 3. We have to create something. The 4 is the worker bee. Now, this is interesting about a 4 because they like routine. They like mundane. Shoot me now. I can't handle that. But a 4, oh my gosh, loyal, responsible, lawyers, accountants, beauticians, people that do the same, anestheticians, they'll do the same work every day, all day, and they love it. They revel in routine. 5s, they're the promoters. They're the ones that want to live life to the fullest, because we have 5 senses and they want to experience every one of them within their lifetime. And they're good talkers too, I have to say that. They really want to experience travel and live in the world as much as they can. And change, love change. They can adapt. They're so easily adaptable, and sometimes they'll leave quicker than they need to. They need to settle in sometimes and don't get caught up in what can be chaos. The 6s, I already told you about a 6. They're the quintessential caregivers and responsible. Home, family is really, really important to them.
Well, I love that explanation, and I'm thinking, I'm just going to throw this out here, because 6 can be divided into 2, and it's 2 pairs of 3, because I'm also very creative and I used to dance and love to sing. So I figure I got a little bit of 3 in there too.
Absolutely. Well, it's a 33-6, so you absolutely do, Gloria. That's beautiful. Yeah, good for you to see that, because it's a lot of people just kind of think, okay, 6. But no. That 3 really plays a big part in creating that 6 for you. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's, it's interesting, you say, we've got all these characteristics, but I think also too, sometimes we're, maybe we are, we're drawn to those areas, but maybe life circumstances maybe don't allow us to do some of these things, or we're forced into, say,
Right.
you are having to become a caregiver because your parents are, elderly, or you have to take care of a sick, person. Like my sister went through cancer. And so I was taking care of her part-time.
Exactly.
So sometimes, we're put into this, but I'm guessing, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that because our numbers are a certain way, then we're at least much more highly attuned to those areas, or we're going to be more drawn to that.
Yep.
Can you,
Absolutely.
I think you know what I'm trying to say, but I'm not saying it very well.
No. I understand exactly what you're saying. Life gives us lessons and experiences in our numbers. For instance, I didn't really know I was a writer until I was in my 30s. And that's when it really sort of blossomed. I mean, I wrote when I was a kid. I journaled for years, but was really, and a maturity happens in your 30s anyway. So a lot of life paths can experience that in that time frame. The other thing we were going to chat about was the 9-year cycle. Now, numerology runs on a 9-year cycle, and this year, and I love that you have entrepreneurs in your audience, because this is an 8-year. So we go through 9 years, and now we're in an 8 years. So next year, and I'll talk about that too, but next year's the end of the 9-year cycle, and that's going to be a big year. But if you're in an 8-year, which we all are, it's universal 8-year. This means business management, being an authority. This is the year that I really launched my online business. I've been a numerologist for years, but I put myself out into social media and doing more interviews, because this is the year to really step up and be an authority. Plus, really get into business. So, and if you have an 8 in your life path, an 8 in your chart anywhere, that's going to be heavy into business, organization, being an entrepreneur. So 8's that number for business, I can tell you that, and balance and understanding money. So next year, 2025, big year, because that's the end. This is when we release things that we don't need anymore. When we, in our lifetime, that we think, okay, I'm done with that. I don't need to do that again. And also, it's a time things leave. 9 is a number of loss. So things do leave in a 9-year, whether you're ready for them to or not. And completion, things complete and they resolve. And it's also the rewards, the time to get the rewards. Both 8 and 9 are years to receive rewards for the work that you've done the previous 7, 8 years, okay, in that 9-year cycle. And the other thing that's really important in a 9-year is to focus also on the next year. 2026 is a 1 year, beginning of another 9-year cycle. Huge to think about. What is it I want to take with me in the next 9 years? Not what do I really just need to let go of. I really like the idea of being focused forward and what's going to benefit me, that'll help me in the next 9 years. So these 2 years are very, very important. Now, the other thing, we all get to go through those years. Okay. So like you were talking about in a 6-year where we have that 6 energy, well, we all get to experience that 6 because we all have a 6-year. Now, the other thing that's really interesting is we have a personal year. Now, the way you calculate your personal year, is this hard? It's not hard. Add your birth month and your birth date to 2024, which is an 8. Add those numbers up, keep adding until you get 1 digit. Well, I did that for you, Gloria, and you're in a 5-year. Now, this is a year of a tremendous change for you. Lots of things come and go, but change, and it's expansive, freedom-seeking, and this is a year for you to level up, to expand, and freedom at all costs. Things are going to change, and you might have things that you've planned to change, but there will be surprises. And the thing of it is, it's so powerful because you've it's the pinnacle of the 9 years, right? It's a 5 year, so it's right in the middle. It's the apex. So big things come, and at the end of that 5 years, that 5 year, you can look back and you say, oh, I'm a different person, because there's been so much things that have turned into your life that are different. Am I right on with your 5 year?
Yeah, I think that a lot. I mean, a lot of what you've been talking about resonates with me, and especially about this year in particular, about being the year for business, and really embracing that, and it. I think it's actually a really good time for me, a lovely little segue. So we're gonna pause this conversation for just a moment, because I want to let you know about something that I am doing right now, and that is a really good opportunity for all of those of you out there looking, or who are listening, or looking at watching this on social media or on YouTube, is that I am right now, I am in the middle of launching an exciting new program to help you to really transform your business, and the way you treat your business in just 30 days. And it's called Align to Shine Academy. And it's going to help you to gain the confidence to charge your worth, and to enhance your intuition and really be able to trust it more. And it's going to include 4 powerful weekly virtual training sessions, sound healing, and daily guidance. So you can join our November 26th cohort for just $197. And you'll also receive a couple bonuses. You'll receive a personalized light language MP3 from me, plus a PDF copy of my book back there, Live, Love, Engage: How to Stop Doubting Yourself and Start Being Yourself. So if you want more information about that, you can go to aligntoshineacademy.net for details, and I will be sure and have that in the show notes as well. So now I want to go back and bring the lovely Susan back up here, and see if I can figure out how to be able to do it where we get the 2 of us on here at the same time. There we go. There we go.
Yay.
Let's see. No, okay. We're still not quite where I want it to be. There we go. That's the way I want it to be. So, yeah. So, let's get down to some brass tacks. I'm hearing my mother saying that. What are some practical ways that we can apply numerology to our business and our life?
Well, a lot of it depends on what your numbers are personally, right? And as I said, this is a business year. So if you're thinking about doing so, it's perfect, absolutely perfect what you're doing and what you're launching for this in November. Timing is everything, and I think doing that in this 8 year, plus it's your 5 personal year, another expansion, because you've been building up to this, right? I mean, this isn't something you thought of last week. You've been really setting a foundation last year, and now you've really been adding it up, and now you're ready to birth this thing. And I have to say, I'm really pleased that you're doing it this year as opposed to next year. 9 years aren't years to bring anything new into the world. It's completions. It's ending things. And now is the time to do it, because it's business, or wait until 2026 when you've got a 1 year and you've got the energy behind you. Now that's the way I look at this, because I look at numerology. I look at it like because energy, it's all energy and vibration. Numbers, everything is energy, right? And to flow with the vibration of the numbers, as opposed to having them blowing you in the face and trying to hold you back. In a 7 year, that's not a year either to start a business. A 7 year is the year to really go inward and think about what it is that you want to create, and are you going in the right direction? You ask big questions in the 7 year. It's a year for major introspection and research, and maybe you want to create something in that 8 year. I wrote a book in a 7 year, and it's an important year to really focus on yourself. Now, it's interesting, because in a 6 year, you focus on everybody else. You take care of your family, you're responsible, you handle all kinds of issues that might come up with your home and your family. But in that 7-year, that gives you that little reprieve. It's like it's all about you in a 7-year. Really important. And then 8-year puts you out in the limelight again. That's what's really important about to remember, that 8 years is going to be busy. We were talking about that earlier too, Gloria, about how time speeds up. And some years are a little faster than others. An 8-year is going to be fully loaded. And the 9-year, how fully loaded it is, kind of depends on the work that you've done in the earlier years to build up to what is what's completed, what needs to have a little bit more work to it. And it's also, 9's also an intuitive year, very spiritual year. And focusing on humanity and being of service is a good thing to think about in the next year for you.
Wow.
So a good year to expand your what you've just started. Absolutely. It's I mean, again, I can't tell you often enough. Great year to birth this project, and next year really it'll expand. I can see that just really growing in a 9-year, and then it'll take another leap 2026. It's totally how I see it.
It's so interesting too, because I was going to do it in January, and then I was like, I don't want to wait till January. No, I think we need to start. I think we need to do it now, before the end of the year, get people, on the right foot for next year. And so I guess I was probably picking up on that. So I like that confirmation.
Really good. Yes. You're planting it. You're planting it, the seeds this year, and you're getting it firmly planted. And then next year it can expand. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And your service to humanity is huge. And again, that comes back to the 33-6 is that you are absolutely, your life is all about service to humanity and raising consciousness. It's incredible. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I do feel that, and I study other types of things. Like right now, I'm into the gene keys, and that's also a confirmation, because that's deals with a lot of that. And I've looked at my profile, and it's like, yeah, okay, it fits. I can understand it. So
I know, and it's I told you I'm working on a new book, and it's Know Your Superpowers, Know Your Future. So basically, the life path we talk about, those are your superpowers. This is what you came in with. This is what you're automatically good at. So you might as well know what those are early on in your life, and you can get them to expand and really, really enhance them through your life experience. And the future, I just talked about what next year's about for people. And to follow it, I follow numerology to the letter. I can get it down to a day. I can tell you exactly what kind of a day it's going to be today, and for me, and in my experience. So, and it's all through numerology. So it's a program that I follow. It's a rhythm that I follow, and it's a pattern that I follow in my life. And it has fed me. It's guided me to a lot of places I don't think I ever would have gone if I hadn't known all this. So that's what it does for me anyway.
That's so cool. And that actually brings up a question for me, is that if someone is, they're listening to this today and they're going, I'm really intrigued about this. What would be the first step for them to do? How can someone get started into really, diving into this?
Well, research, books. Oh, good question. Here's my book, Wisdom and Numerology. I wrote that a couple years ago, and it's a clear, concise book. And interestingly, I wrote it because I felt responsible to write it. I could not find, I have a huge library on numerology, but I couldn't find a book that was clear and concise. Like, if you want to know more about what your life path 6 is, okay, it's right here. And 33-6, it's in here too. And I want to know more about what's in an 8-year. Well, that's in here as well. So that would be and it's on Amazon. I'll send it to you too, but it's faster on Amazon probably. So I do the research. That would be a thing. You can check out my website, wisdomandnumerology.com. I'd love to do readings because we'll talk way more than what your life path is. We'll talk about your birth name, because that's the information we get too. We get a lot of information from the name on your birth certificate, because that's who you came in to be. So the name on the birth certificate and your birth date, I can get a lot of information about what your life holds. And we can also look at your past and go, wow, okay, no wonder what that was about. Well, this is what it's about. So, and then you can gain wisdom for the future as well. So there's two ways to do that, I guess, Gloria. You can write to me at wisdomandnumerology@gmail, or check out my website, and that'll give you a lot of information there.
Well, that's excellent. And I'm going to ask you, because I'm not sure that there is an answer to this, but I like to ask it once in a while. So is there maybe a commonly held belief about numerology, perhaps, that you passionately disagree with?
That's a good one. Maybe that it's hard to do. It's not. It's not. For me, it's really, like I said, you add your birth date together. You just keep adding numbers together. It's not that hard. It's very simple. And I think, and it's confusing. See, I love astrology too. I've studied metaphysics. I do tarot. I do a lot of things, but numerology is the one that really spoke to me, and I couldn't get enough of it. And astrology, and they fit together. I call them a zipper, because there's information I get from astrology I don't get from numerology, and vice versa. But numerology to me is so infinitely easier, because like I said, you've really got two things that you look at: your name and your birth certificate and your birth date. So it's easy. People think it's complicated, and it is not. You don't have to know where all the planets are and all that stuff. So that's
yes, I know. I've got a dear friend who's really great in astrology, and I'll listen to her and go like, I'm a little lost. And that's why I delved a little bit into human design, and that's another one that's really complicated for me personally. But I like the Gene Keys because it's more poetic. It's words, and I'm a writer and a reader since I was 3, and so that I love. But I do love numbers too, and I think I might have to go ahead and get your book, because I want to know more. So you've intrigued me today, and I think I'm going to have to go check it out.
Gloria. Thank you.
Is there anything? Well, actually, now before I go to that, I'm going to ask you this question instead. Okay. What are you curious about right now?
The future, really, what's coming up. And it's nice to know, it's nice to feel like I have a handle on at least a piece of it, rather than the unknown. And because there's some things that I can pretty much depend on, that I've got, like I said, the vibration, the energy with me to get some things done. So I'm really curious about what the future holds, and how, and it's not just what's coming up next month, right? I mean, the big one, but really, I know certainly how that's going to impact us, but that's not changing the numbers. So at least the numbers are, like I said, that's my foundation. So I think really more so the future than anything. And like I told you, I'm working on another book. So for me, it's really important, Susan, do your work. Don't get caught up in all this other stuff that's going on, because there's always going to be a lot of other stuff going on. So do your work. Do what's right in front of you. That's what you can count on. And for me, that's what's most important, for me to remind myself, do your work,
I love that. Yeah. Is there anything else that I haven't asked you about that I should have, that would be beneficial for, well, I guess anyone, but in particular for, business owners to know about with regards to numerology?
Well, I think looking at the particular year that they're going to start their business, I think that's a really important thing. And then know their superpowers, know what they're good at, and know who they need to invite into their life to be a partner. Like I said, ones are the ones, they're the leaders, they're all that, but they also have that ability to pull people into their lives to be the leader and to get their work done, do their business right. You're never alone in that one. Sometimes you might feel like that. If you're a 2, you're going to be better in partnership than you are alone. You just are. So know those strengths with those numbers. With 3, just keep your creativity in check and do your work. Like I said, I need that 4. The 4, it's not all about work, but you think it is. So remember to enjoy life. Get out of your box once in a while. 5, really enjoy life, but also bring yourself down and maintain a balance somewhere in that life. 6, absolutely do your work again, and be responsible. That's your big one when you're a 6. Be responsible. 7, do your research, but don't be a recluse. This is funny. You know who's a 7? Taylor Swift is a 7. And which makes no sense on the surface. But when you think about what she does, she likes the limelight and she can handle the limelight, but she has to go back into her space and write, create, and then she comes out again. Well, that's a 7. If you're an 8, do the business. You've got to know about money, understand it both ways. Too much, not enough. Really understand what money means, because that's going to be in your foundation. A 9, you're being a service to humanity. So, and don't get lost in that either. 9s have a tendency to get lost. So really know your superpowers and really know what you can do and what you need to do to complete your business. What's the word? Because you don't do this alone, right, Gloria?
Right.
You've got people to help you.
Yeah.
Know who you need to bring into your team. That's I think the best thing I can tell anyone that's in business. And don't expect to do it overnight. It's not going to happen overnight.
No, that's for sure. Absolutely. And so you just remind me again, because I know you said at the beginning, so to be able to find your number, it deals with your birth date information.
Right. Just keep adding those numbers together. So if you were born today, what is today? 10/23, 2024. Right. So 10 would be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 2 plus 2 plus 4.
Right.
And that all adds up to, I think it adds up to, when you keep adding them together and keep adding until you get 1 digit, because it'll add up to something. I can't think of what it is. Sorry. And then add those 2 digits together and you get a 5. I know that today is a 5 day. So yeah.
Very cool.
And that'll calculate that. So so if you were born today, you're a 5.
Very cool. So I guess if you're going to go into business with someone, you might want to say, I know this is a little personal question, but could I have your birth date information?
Right. Well,
make sure we're a good match. Right?
And employees too. I mean, seriously, really, you need to know what their strengths are, because if you're a 5, oh honey, don't hire a 5. You've already got that you might counsel with a 5, but I'm not sure you don't need another 5 on that team. The best thing to do would be to get somebody because the 1s want to create the ideas, the 2s want to support it, the 3s want to create more, because 1 plus 2 is that 3. 4s want to get the work done. 5s want to just give it away, basically, and that's what 9s do too. So when you get everybody together, get a good balance in your team. That's what you need to do for sure.
Awesome. That is so wonderful. Okay. Well, I so appreciate you being on the show today. And just one more time, we'll put this up here. So if someone wants to connect with you, they can go to your website, correct? Which is so wisdomofnumerology.com. And they can also, you mentioned, I think they can send you an email or something as well.
wisdomofnumerology@gmail. So that'll get to me the fastest if you want to do. You can do it on the website. The other thing I just saw, that's funny. I got a second to tell you this. There are 3 letters, now that we're talking about 8, there are 3 letters, H, Q, and Z, that are associated with the number 8. Well, I didn't have any 8s in my name. And I am a business person. It's real important for me to have business. I grew up in business. I love business. I've had businesses. Well, I put that Z in my name because I needed that 8. So I have that 8 energy, and that works. Believe me, it's a way to look at things, because your name on your birth certificate is who you came in to be, but we change our name. We get married or whatever. And that doesn't change who you came in to be. It does add the energy of other numbers. So that's why it's Susan with a Z.
I love that. I'm so glad you got that in there. That is a really cool point. And so I think that's the perfect way for us to end this episode today. So thank you so much for sharing that, because I've also thought about, maybe well, changing my name. And well, one thing is I did start using my middle name as opposed to, not using it. So I started using it professionally when I started really getting into talking more about spirituality. And so I thought my mother gave me this great name. I should use Grace in addition to Gloria.
It's beautiful, and I really encourage you to do that, because yes, absolutely. It's a beautiful word if no other reason, but
Yeah.
it brings some good energy into your name. I can see that. It's lovely.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for being with us today. And I encourage everyone out there to, go, if you're intrigued by all of this, to go check out Susan's website and to get her book. I think I'm going to go to Amazon after this myself and get it, because now I'm really interested in this some more. So I'm going to do that. So thank you so much for being with us. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Gloria. Call me anytime if you have a question. I'd be happy to answer.
Excellent. Appreciate that.
Okay.
And I do want to thank all of you for watching and listening, and for commenting. Lovely Sheila has been watching on Facebook and has been commenting. I so appreciate that. And I just want to make sure that you. I hope you're enjoying the podcast, and I do appreciate those who do leave their comments and reviews on Apple, for instance, because the other podcast platforms don't seem to let you do that, but I appreciate those who do on Apple. And so if you are not subscribed, if this is your first time, I hope you will subscribe to the podcast on whatever platform you're listening to. Subscribe to us on YouTube as well. Make sure you hit the like button and that subscribe bell, I think it is, on YouTube. And until next time, I encourage you to go out and live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically.